Hi and welcome to this edition of Out of the Box. My name is Paul. Today we're going to have a look at what is in this small brown box. This is the Ubiquiti SFP-Wizard. All right, normally in these I just give you a box opening, but there are only 2 items to the box. And so I do want to show you those, but I do want to show you basically what this is and how it actually works in practice in a very simple way. So let's just jump in, have a look at what's in the box, and I'll show you how it works. So this is what you get. Very simple. The device itself and the get started manual. Probably worthwhile having a little look in that, but we'll put that aside for the moment. So this is the device itself, pretty small. You can see the size of that. Let me just turn this on so you can get the screen idea. So there's an LCD screen on the top here. We get the option to pull down, and we can get the options here for the screen brightness, to lock the screen so that if you turn it upside down, it doesn't flip itself back that way, and to turn Bluetooth on and off. You can pair this, or you connect this with the UniFi network app, and it allows you to do firmware updates to it. And you do get a bit of conformity information on there as well. And obviously battery indicator. On this here, we've got our USB-C in, and we've got here some options. Add this to your key ring or a chain or something else that you've got there. And then obviously on the bottom, real simple there, hopefully you can see, we've just got our SFP, standard SFP, SFP Plus in here, and our QSFP for the larger 100 gig and above connections that you might have in there as well. And that's what you get to the device. It's got a small battery in there, probably lasts a good number of hours. But what is this in practice? In practice, maybe we have some SFPs or maybe we have a vendor, maybe we have a firewall in place. We're going to give you an example here with a Fortinet. So maybe you've got a Fortinet firewall and you're going to put in there a Ubiquiti transceiver, probably from the basic fact that it's cheaper. But when you put it in, it probably works, but it moans about the fact that it isn't an official or isn't a recognized actual SFP. So you can use this SFP essentially to copy that config from an official one onto one of the Ubiquiti SFPs to mimic it. You can also copy the config off of Ubiquiti back onto another one. You can use it for some specific stats and things like that, and fault finding as well. So it has some uses. So let's have a look again at how this might work in practice. So a couple of caveats. This is an RJ45 and is 1 gig. So I need to copy that. It's an SFP. I can't copy that config over generally to an SFP Plus. They don't match. And I couldn't put it across onto a fiber one, obviously, as well. So you're looking for roughly like for like. So I'm going to do something fairly simple. I'm going to actually use a Ubiquiti DAC cable. Obviously, this is essentially equivalent of an Ethernet. It can do 1 and 10 gig as a basic round idea. So realistically, those two match. If I had a 1 gig just RJ45 connector of this, that would be ideal. But I can make it work with this, and I'll show you some screen grabs that it actually works as well. So all we need to do is we just need to put our current transceiver, the one we want to copy, in. You can see on here that it's showing you that is actually copied the config. It doesn't store multiple configs we can go back to. You can't load configs to it. So once you've powered it off, it forgets all the config that's in there. So the first SFP or QSFP that you add in there, it will bring that config off it and copy it. So now that I've got this, I can put that to the side. So what I can do is maybe take my DAC now, and it's going to give me some options here. I've got some options to have a look at some of the information. This is probably only going to be useful if I've actually got a fiber connection and that one end of the other end of the fiber is actually connected in. Then I can get some useful information of what's traveling through it. I have the option to write or to copy. I could copy this config again, but I've already done that because I've copied it off our Fortinet transceiver there. So I'm actually going to write back the config that I'd copied from my Fortinet transceiver, and I'm going to write this back onto my DAC. And then I'm going to pop that into a switch and see what this DAC actually is going to appear as. So let me just take that out. I've already prepped this up. So we'll just pop up on the screen. You can see there that this actually now shows this is what it was officially when you put it through. You can see up on the screen there it's got the serial number and the Fortinet. Now we put the DAC in. You can see that that now mimics that. It duplicates that. So I could now essentially put that into my Fortinet, and my Fortinet would believe it's this, and as a result shouldn't give me any errors saying it's inappropriate or incorrect hardware. Now, we could do this the other way around. We could make this Fortinet think that it is actually a Ubiquiti transceiver. So let me take the other end of the DAC, which still has the code on there. Let me pop that in here. All right, and again, this has got an option to write. Well, we don't want to write it. In fact, this end looks like it's already got the Fortinet details on it, so that's not going to be really very useful for us. So let me just grab that. Let me just check I drew that from the right place. Let me grab this one here. So pop this in. You can see I've got it's now brought in. Do I want to copy or write this one here back to being a Fortinet, or do I want to copy it being a DAC cable? So let me just copy the config off this end of the DAC cable here. So now I can pop in my Fortinet transceiver. Remember, it still thinks it's a Fortinet there. So I can now actually write back the config there as a DAC onto here. And again, once this is just completed, we'll just pop on the screen grab there, so you can actually see that the switch actually believes a Ubiquiti transceiver has been plugged in, even though we've actually popped in there what is actually a Fortinet transceiver. So hopefully that's been really quick and useful, and actually shows you essentially what the SFP-Wizard does. There are obviously caveats that I've talked about. It has to be like for like, 1 gig to 1 gig. Fiber to fiber, and there are a few other characteristics that you need to make sure that this is going to do what you want it, but a really cheap, easy use tool that will allow you to maybe get rid of some of those incompatibility errors that you get when you're maybe trying to use a Ubiquiti or another transceiver in a specific vendor's piece of hardware. May save you some money along the line as well. Hopefully that's been useful. Do head on over to our YouTube channel. Plenty more box openings on network, firewall, wireless and camera security. So why don't you head on over there, subscribe and stay up to date.